Because if in a lesser actor's hands, it would have been just, oh, you did that. What Richard was just talking about. Usually, you know, the flawed character gets all the good stuff, and Hilo's a straight arrow, but he's still compelling to watch.
Mm-hmm. I have no idea. No, I'm just joking. I mean, ultimately, it comes down to the writing. You know, I'm not going to sit here and try and brag. You know, it really came down to brilliant writing. You know, especially with Hilo. I hate to recycle my answer again, but to say what I was saying before, that was a really huge lesson for me to figure out that just by doing my work as an actor, doing the extra stuff, doing backstory, when there's an opportunity for it, deciding what may have happened. Sometimes, unfortunately, because my story was a C storyline in the first season, there was big jumps, big shifts that I just couldn't understand. And I remember being scared, like terrified of writing David Icke. But I did it because I had to, because I was so upset about the fact that we went from one episode of me shooting, okay, Boomer, almost killing her when I find out she's pregnant, she's a Cylon, almost killing her. And then episodes later, we're walking through the forest talking about who the baby's going to look like. I couldn't understand it. I hated it. It was so frustrating to me. I'm like, what? How are we jumping over this conflict? Like, this is huge for him. He's so torn up. He's found out he's sleeping with the enemy. He's about to have a baby. It was so frustrating for me. And I'd hear like Eddie and Mary talk about the script, and you know, when they approach the executive producers, who am I? I'm this kid who's just starting on the show. But I remember sitting on it for days, and then I was like, I'm writing David Icke. I wrote him a letter, and he shut me down. He's like, no, basically, that's the way it is, and you're going to do it. And I was like, okay, no problem. So, when I delivered that line, though, I don't know if you noticed, but I delivered it like, I can't believe I'm actually saying this. She's like, who's the nigga look like? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, oh God, I don't know what the line was. I'm kind of getting off track here, but those lessons were huge for me in the beginning, and I was like, if I do my homework, I make some choices, I work with Grace, we do backstory whenever we can, because there were significant jumps between episodes, and it was just assumed what had happened between us during that timeline. And I'd make up stuff, and I'd make up stories, and then I'd start to see the writers write for me. And I was like, wow, I can actually influence this in a serious way. It was so empowering for me, and I was like, okay, I get this, all right, I understand, I have a choice in this. But, you know, ultimately, it really came down to the writing. They gave me good stuff, and you know, I think I did my work, and it's such a collaborative process. And you start to understand that. Eddie was touching on this the other day in the last panel, but the writers will write a scene a certain way, especially when a show is starting off and they don't know their actors very well, and then the actors act the scene out, and something else is created completely, and they're like, wow, okay, we didn't even see that, we have to write for that now. And you know, that happened often in our show, and it was beautiful. And once we all got to know our characters so well too, you know, they did come to us, and I was approached, but it was later on in the show, and they'd ask me my opinion sometimes, and it was so flattering. You know, we were such a big, well-oiled machine that worked so well together, and it was like this happy family, but there's so much communication on that set. Unfortunately, like Eddie says, it really was like the most amazing experience. I'm not sure if I'll have one like it again. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes, you did.
You wanted to touch on Ballard. I mean, Ballard, unfortunately, was only, you know, 2 seasons, 26 episodes, and I was very confused in the beginning of that. I went in brimming with confidence. I came off of Battlestar Galactica, acting with heavyweights, some of the best actors in the world, seeing the best work I've ever seen, the rawest, most truthful work. I came off that show so confident, you guys. I was like, I found out I got Dollhouse, Joss Whedon. I'm like, I'm gonna knock this out of the park. I cannot wait to eat this up. I'm gonna own the show. I'm so excited. This is the character I wanted to play, a darker, sort of conflicted loner, which Paul is in a lot of ways. I mean, he's, you know, there's similarities between him and Hilo, but he's very different. He's a very self-righteous guy, Paul Ballard. But once we started it, you guys all, for those Dollhouse fans who know, we had to reshoot the pilots. Joss had a very specific vision, and if you see the original pilot that he did, it's very dark and noir, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful piece, man. I really liked it. But then we chopped it up, and then we spread it out over 4 episodes and reshot the pilot, and it was just, we were struggling in the beginning, man, and it didn't know where it was going, and I wasn't getting any feedback. And I came from such a set that was so, like, you know, when you nailed a scene, people told you. You didn't need that, but there was that communication. You felt it. And we didn't have a lot of communication in Dollhouse in the beginning because everyone was so worried about the show going to shit. And I think Joss was dealing with the network every single day. So I was very confused, and it was a very humbling experience at the beginning of that show because I went in with so much confidence, and then I was very confused for episodes and episodes. I couldn't find them for a while. Like as Eddie said before, I mean, it takes you a while to find your character's music. I went in there thinking I knew his music. I had AC/DC rocking in my head, man, but there was like some sort of weird Mozart playing in my head. I was confused, like yeah. It took a while. Thanks.
This side.